Little Red Riding Hood. Once upon a time, there was a little girl who lived in a village near the forest. Whenever she went out, the little girl wore a red riding cloak, so everyone in the village called her Little Red Riding Hood. One morning, Little Red Riding Hood asked her mother if she could go to visit her grandmother, as it had been a while since they had seen each other. "That's a good idea," her mother said. So they packed a nice basket for Little Red Riding Hood to take to her grandmother. When the basket was ready, the little girl, her mother cautioned, "Don't dawdle along the way, and please do not talk to strangers. The woods are dangerous." "Don't worry, Mommy," said Little Red Riding Hood. "I will be very careful." Little Red Riding Hood noticed some lovely flowers in the woods. She forgot her promise to her mother. She picked a few beautiful flowers, watched the butterflies flit about for a while, listened to the frogs croaking, and then picked a few more. Little Red Riding Hood was enjoying the warm summer day so much that she didn't notice a dark shadow approaching out of the forest behind her. Suddenly, the wolf appeared beside her. "What are you doing out here, little girl?" the wolf asked in a voice as friendly as he could be. "I am on my way to see my grandma, who lives through the forest near the brook," Little Red Riding Hood replied. Then she realized how late she was and quickly excused herself, rushing down the path to her grandma's house. The wolf, in the meantime, took a shortcut. The wolf, a little out of breath from running, arrived at Grandma and knocked lightly at the door. "Knock, knock." "Oh, thank goodness, dear. Come in, come in. I was worried sick that something had happened to you in the forest," said Grandma, thinking that the knock was her granddaughter. The wolf let himself in. Poor Granny didn't have time to say another word before the wolf gobbled her up. The wolf let out a satisfied burp and then poked through Granny's wardrobe to find a nightgown that he liked. He added a flirty sleeping cap and, for good measure, dabbed some of Granny's perfume behind his pointy ears. A few minutes later, Red Riding Hood knocking at the door. "Knock, knock." The wolf jumped into the bed and pulled the cover over his nose. "Who is it?" he called in a cackly voice. "It's me, Little Red Riding Hood." "Oh, lovely. Do come in, my dear," croaked the wolf. When Little Red Riding Hood entered the little cottage, she could scarcely recognize her grandmother. "Grandmother, your voice sounds so odd. Is something that matter?" she asked. "Oh, I just have a touch of a cold," squeezed the wolf, adding a cough at the end of proof the point. "But Grandma, what a big ears you have," said Little Red Riding Hood as she edged closer to the bed. So the wolf replied, "All I can hear you better." "But Grandmother, what big eyes you have," said Little Red Riding Hood. "The better to see you, my dear," replied the wolf. "But Grandmother, what big teeth you have," said Little Riding Hood, her voice quaking slightly. "Better to eat you, my dear," roared the wolf, and he leaped out of the bed and began to chase the little girl. Almost too late. Little Red Riding Hood realized that the person in the bed was not her grandmother, but a very hungry wolf. So she ran across the room and through the door, shouting, "Help! Help, wolf!" as loudly as she could. A woodman who was chopping logs nearby heard her cry and ran toward the cottage as fast as he could. He grabbed the wolf and made him spit out the poor grandmother, who was a bit frazzled by the whole experience, but still in one piece. "Oh, Grandma, I was so scared," sobbed Little Red Riding Hood. I will never speak to stranger or dawdle in the forest again. There, there, child, you have learned an important lesson. Thank goodness you shouted loud enough for this kind woodman to hear you. The woodman knocked out the wolf and carried him deep into the forest where he wouldn't bother people any longer. In the end, Little Red Riding Hood and her grandmother had a nice lunch and a very long chat. So I hope you all enjoyed this video. I will come back next time with another video. Till then, see you. Bye bye. Have a good day.